I too believe in transparency. All of our votes on committee and the votes on the floor are open for everyone to see, and you know, my constituents can judge me on how I vote on the issues. I come in here every day with my big boy underpants on, and I'm willing to take the heat for what I believe in, and I'm trying to represent my constituents. I love this institution. I am so honored and humbled to be a part of it. And the foundation of this institution is our Constitution. We have a very unique system, as Senator Kowalski had mentioned, you know, in that we're a unicameral, and we're a nonpartisan unicameral. That's probably one of the most unique characteristics of that, nonpartisanship. And our Constitution calls for us to be nonpartisan. When I got sworn into the Air Force, I swore to defend, defend the Constitution of the United States. We took an oath when we became state senators as well to support the Constitution of the state of Nebraska. That Constitution calls for us to be nonpartisan. And for my colleagues who argue that this is not about partisanship, you know, a classic example, I think, is the Omaha World Herald this morning, where the county commissioner, the county GOP leader, is proposing to censure Senator Bob Christ. And he said that he was disappointed that Christ had voted counter to the county party's publicly stated position on secret leadership ballots. Okay, so there's a perfect example of that partisanship. You know, if we have to toe the party line on who we vote for committee chairs and the speaker, you know, we've given up control of this institution. And so I'm a firm supporter of the Constitution. The Constitution says we should be nonpartisan, and unless we are willing to change the Constitution, I'm going to oppose this amendment by Senator Kintner on transparency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Johnson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you know, I ran one of the closest races when we elected committee chairs. Can't get any closer. And going into the day, I thought I had maybe 3 votes extra, maybe 5. I won by 1. I don't know who those 3 or 4 or 5 that might have changed their mind. And true, I won, so it's history. I don't care. And you know, I'm not going to focus on why somebody changed. Luckily, both Senator Brosh and I are the same party, so it did not become a party issue. I might have felt a little bit different, I suppose, if I would have lost. But my mindset is, get over it. I didn't want to know. I still don't want to know who changed their mind or who voted against me. That's history. I'm comfortable with where we're at right now. I definitely oppose the amendment on the floor. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Chambers, you are recognized.
Thank you. Mr. President, members of the legislature, I wish that people had an appropriate respect for history. That's not to say that everything that is in a history book is accurate, that it's true even, that it's unbiased, but at least it tries to bring to people in the present information about things that happened in the past. Then you draw your own conclusions. Anybody who's going to write history, since he or she can't write everything, is going to have to make decisions and choices as to what is going to be included, what will be excluded. So there's no such thing as an objective history. Even obituaries are not objective, and they certainly are not true, but everybody accepts that as the way that it is. For anybody as old as the people are on this floor, even the youngest, to come here and talk about this nonsense that has anything to do with transparency of government boggles my mind. And maybe I have reached the point of age where I've lost contact with reality. Not all reality, however, maybe the new reality, which is based on an appearance, a showing, a sham, where they have devices which will allow you to appear on a screen and have different clothes in the pop of a fingernail of a finger without changing your clothes. Look thinner. Look like you're someplace with people and they're over there, you're here, and maybe some of them are dead, but they all have the appearance of being alive. This is a sham society. And they think, when they come to this body, by merely cloaking nonsense in words that might have sense, it's going to take on more validity than it has. I could be like that little critter who did in Bambi, who was young and bumptious as our young critters and don't know one thing from another, and referred to a little person as flower. And this little person will not give off the aroma or the scent or the fragrance of lavender being wafted through the air. Because the little critter she called a flower, or he called a flower, was in fact a skunk. Calling that a flower did not make it so. Standing up here with a shallow understanding of history or none whatsoever, certainly no background in political science, no understanding because they've never read the debates that went on among those men named as forefathers, your forefathers, not mine, nobody black was there, but they were, some of them were the father of people of my complexion. I'm going to digress now because this thing is going nowhere, it's not worth it. But there was some Republican down in Virginia, and he was serving time for inappropriate sexual misbehavior with an underage girl. And he was elected to office while he was serving time. And he should have been. All he has to do is say, all I'm doing is getting into the House of Delegates. Why, Thomas Jefferson owned young black girls and fathered children on them, and he became President of the United States. George Washington lived in Virginia. He had inappropriate relationships with black women. And when that guy they love to quote so much, who came from England, and I'm not going to give you his name, but you can find it, Google it. He said he came to these plantations, and what surprised him is that they had little black children and little white children, and the only difference was in the complexion because they all looked the same, because they had the same daddy. And now all this hypocrisy about this guy doing what the so-called founding fathers did. Can't be in office, and they became president. Call it like it is, but you won't read history, and when the truth of history comes out, you people say, oh, you're attacking America, you want to bring America down. If they committed the kind of acts that should bring them down, let them come down, but don't lie to these children. Make them think these are paragons of virtue. Then when they do some independent reading and find out on their own